Come, let us explore mistakes beginners make in breathing meditation that nobody mentions. In the Buddha's first meditation manual is sometimes mistakenly translated as mindfulness of breathing discourse, but a more accurate translation is mindfulness with breathing, despite my interesting spelling choice. Allow me to elaborate. And to do that, I'm going to jump ahead and find a really juicy visual aid. Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, and that suckiness looks like people being trained to be rigid instead of being flexible, fearful instead of loving, superstitious instead of being rational. People being trained to be controlling instead of laid back, elitist instead of egalitarian, cryptic instead of lucid. People being trained to be competitive instead of cooperative. People being trained to be cruel instead of kind, being told that it's the way of the hero, being told it's the way of the man or woman of power. In fact, back in the 80s, entire soap operas were nighttime soap operas were built around the concept of the powerful man of action. When people bring this rigidity and these controlling tendencies into meditation, they are prone to practice focus and active analysis, relying upon discrete neural pathways such as those found in the medial prefrontal cortex. The problem is that the prefrontal cortex is soon exhausted, and the moment that happens, our amygdala is triggered, which functions as the seat of both anxiety and aggression. If you practice concentration, you'll notice yourself growing cranky and anxious. If you hang out with others who practice concentration, you'll see the same behavior. Now, there are lots of opportunists and elitists who will take advantage of that and form a cult. We see that a lot in the cult of the teacher. We see that a lot in Zen. We see that a lot in Tantra. In fact, the 14th Dalai Lama insists that the reason Tantra fell in India is because of the predatory behavior of corrupt teachers. Well, if we're not supposed to focus actively on our breath, what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to coordinate with our breath. When we use our breath as a bit of a metronome, interesting things happen. Each time we inhale, whether we know it or not, we automatically access the sympathetic nervous system ensconced within the middle third of our spinal cord. The sympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us to notice in a very special way. It has evolved to help us to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. It has evolved to help us to notice mind's antics of perception, sights, sounds, sensations, including our breathing, flavors, scents, and the like, including emotions. Yes, all of them, from the glorious to the grotesque, from the pleasurable to the painful. Intentions, all of them, from the interesting to the boring, cognitions, recollections, and imaginings as well. What are we, and so what are we to do with that? That brings us to meditation. Every time we exhale, whether we know it or not, we are wired to automatically access our parasympathetic nervous system, divided between the lower third and the upper third of the same spinal cord. This parasympathetic nervous system has evolved to help us physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation, whether that which we noticed, oopsie, having some troubles here. Whether that which we noticed was our circumstance, or our body, or our posture, or our breath, or our experience of the interpersonal, or our experience of the mental. Well, if we're already wired to do these things during our inhalation and during our exhalation, why do we meditate? Simple. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we interrupt the habit of our cerebral cortex competing against our sympathetic nervous system and instead open things up for cooperation. Similarly, every time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we interrupt the pattern of our cerebral cortex competing against our parasympathetic nervous system and instead open things up for cooperation. So here's a wild thing. By coordinating the silent and mental recitation of these two one-syllable words in harmony with our inhalation and exhalation, we get to interrupt destructive patterns in our central nervous system and set space for healing ones. Let's tie this up in a nice red bow. It's not our job to actively concentrate on anything, even our breath. It's our job to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. Notice whatever comes up. It's our job to notice and relax and release. Welcome to the easy path of enlightenment. I would like to shift gears now from our opening lesson to our main practice. It is Qui-Gon Jinn Tuesday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi after 30 seconds. Oops, this is a little too big. Let me see if I can't adjust this bad boy. After approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I've spent about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Good morning, Jay. What do you say? Let's see here. So I'm going to tap button 9 and bring us to the latest iteration of very easy meditation. Please chant with me. Whatever comes me. On second thought, let's hold up on that. And instead, let's take a detour. let's explore the 6th chapter of Oliver Benjamin's adaptation of the Tao Te Ching. So I'm going to hit Control G. I'm going to try and hit Control G. That's what's happening. Okay, so we're going to go over here, tap this one, tap this, and now hit Control G. There we go. That was very exciting. So together, let us chant. The universal force which gives rise to all life could be thought of as a mysterious sort of womb. The entrance to this profound mother is the origin of the galaxy. Her presence stretches in all directions across all time and space. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. The universal force is, of course, an homage to the force of the galaxy that Lucas built. But here it's being used as a metaphor for the momentum of centered spontaneity. Centered spontaneity is not active, it's passive, like the archetypical yin or womb. So all good things in our life come from the direct or indirect experience or implementation of centered spontaneity. Centered spontaneity is not an entity, a god or a goddess. It is simply a way of doing things, and as such is available to all beings everywhere. To every member of the Star Wars Cantina. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. Around the globe, the birthing suites and hospitals are full of screaming women in substantial pain and fatigue and fear and turmoil. And no one in their right mind thinks of the delivery process as easy. And so the radical idea is that, or the counterintuitive idea is that even the most traumatic circumstances are improved by our habituation of centered spontaneity, which arguably the Buddha described as the 6th fold of the Buddha's 8-fold path, effortless effort. So I'm going to tap, once again, button. Which button is it? Is it this one? It is. Okay. And now, let's return to our primary text. In view of that which we just chanted, now let's chant this bit. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. We come to the first of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let us rest the great knuckle at the base of our right little finger upon the tip of our left little finger, and then stack our hands palms up in our lap. And now let us implement the instructions we received during the opening lesson. Quick reminder, pro tip, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist philosophy or mindfulness or meditation, please do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Good morning and welcome to the second of 5 mindful crease counting meditations. Let's see, I want to tap button 14. Please chant with me. The universal force which gives rise to all life could be thought of as a mysterious sort of womb. The entrance to this profound mother is the origin of the galaxy. Her presence stretches in all directions across time and space. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. There we go. Still getting used to a new computer. Everything feels different. Because it is. Let's see. Let's rest the great knuckle at the base of our right ring finger, upon the tip of our left ring finger, palms up in our lap. And now we turn our attention to the essence of mindfulness and meditation. So, quick review if you've just tuned in. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagining. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release whatever it is that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Whatever we noticed, whether it was external or internal, physical or mental, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, glorious or grotesque. Whatever we noticed could feel a trifle less tantalizing, less defining, and even less permanent. And this brings us back to the common theme that the more we play with mindfulness and meditation, the more we automatically experience the first fold of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, which is the deep familiarization with the literal impermanence that supports letting go. You see, the same thing that we might consider to be a flaw, the fact that things come and go, that sight, sound, sensations, flavors, scents come and go, that emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings come and go as a visceral reminder of change. Together, let us practice right now, and quick pro tip. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist or Taoist chanting or meditation or philosophy, remember to type your question, or don't hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window. Together, let us practice right now. Please chant with me the sixth passage of the Tao of the Jedi. The universal force which gives rise to all life could be thought of as a mysterious sort of womb. The entrance to this profound mother is the origin of the galaxy. Her presence stretches in all directions across all time and space. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. Whoops, that's the wrong button. Let's try that again. I'm not sure what I just did. Okay, that's good. So let's go back over here. Let's hit button 9. That is really weird. Oh, I think I know what happened. Nope, that didn't do it. Let's go back over here. Let's hit button 8. Let's hit button 9. Let's hit it. Oh. I have no idea what just happened. Let's go over here. Sadhana. Let's go over here. Okay, now let's try going back. That is just odd. Well, it's fitting well on that screen, just not on my screen. I just need to get over it, I guess. Let's move forward. When we rest the great knuckle at the base of our right middle finger upon the tip of our left middle finger, palms up in our lap, it gently invites our real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce at the heart region of our chest. Quick review. The essence of mindfulness is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun during our inhalation. Doing so, each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release all that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Together, let us practice right now. One moment, if you please. right now, what do you find is? Oh, wait a second. This is just not looking right on my end. I have to wait for that. Okay. So where do you see some cut off? Oh, the bottom part. Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you. Okay, give it about 45 seconds. Well, there is something off here. Please chant with me. The universal force which gives rise to all life could be thought of as a mysterious sort of womb. The entrance to this profound mother is the origin of the galaxy. Her presence stretches in all directions across all time and space. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. By resting all four knuckles of our right hand upon the tips of our left hand, palms up in our lap, we gently invite the real or imagined subtle energies to automatically coalesce in the region of our throat that tightens just before we cry. Each time we silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this during our inhalation, we are wired to vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly notice mind's antics of perception, emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagination. Each time we silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease during our exhalation, we are similarly wired to physically relax and mentally release all that we noticed during our previous inhalation. Let us practice mindfulness and meditation right now. Please chant with me. The universal force which gives rise to all life could be thought of as a mysterious sort of womb. The entrance to this profound mother is the origin of the galaxy. Her presence stretches in all directions across all time and space. She seems to give birth without exerting the slightest effort. Please rest the great knuckle at the base of your right index finger upon the tip of your left index finger, palms up, in your lap. This is our final practice of our final set of mindfulness and meditation. Let's make the most of it. Please chant with me. Whatever comes, may all beings let it come. Whatever stays, may all beings let it stay. Whatever goes, may all beings let it go. You've taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 8 3/4 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.